All right, here's the, it's actually kind of the seat assembly upside down. So this is what fastens down. There's some little screws that you put a cover on, and then this slides down in those grommets on the actual toilet, and they secure mainly, in a sense, by gravity, but they're also kept on by the tank. So you got to take the tank off too, and I'll show you as I put it back together how that goes on there. And then you've got these wires. So that's why I'm taking a video for one reason, so I can make sure I get it plugged in. But this wire, this is going to come from the seat itself. I don't know if you can see this, but see where we got cracks here and here. I mean, it's still usable. It's just some of the cracks are starting to come through. I think, as I said earlier, it's $130 for the actual seat, and you just get this part here. But that part includes this wiring here. So you've got the blue wiring that appears to be for the control for the seat lid going up and down. And then this is the wire, which I think is for the heater. We don't use it, but there's a heater on there if you want the seat to get warm. So that's what this looks like. I'm going to go ahead. So I've still got to take this wire out here, this black and red one. And there's actually there's two sets of wires there that has to come out. And then I think once I pull this off, you can get at the one end of how the seat fits in there with a little, kind of a short little stud that comes off the actual seat assembly here. I assume then you can push it through over here, get the seat off, reroute the new wires. Here, I'll show you what the wire looks like on the. So here's what you get for the $130, and here's those wires. All right, so there's the two black there, the black, red, and a green there, and then the two blues. Appears like they got an extra junction box on this, I suppose, for two different applications maybe. Then you see what I'm talking about on how these go through. I'm still trying to figure out how this one's going to work. It'll be interesting when I pull the other one off how that all fits together. Okay, so I'm pulling this motor off, which I think has a shaft actually in the motor. And then once you pull that out, that frees this side up. And then you can release it off of here. Just pull this off then, because there won't be any more protrusion into this assembly here. And then I assume then you can push this out, and that frees up the actual seat. So it's really hard to get at this one screw back in there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a screw back in there. There's two. One's for the lower one, which is for the lid motor, and then this one is for the seat motor. And it's a little hard to get. But I got it with a Phillips, so I'm going to continue doing that now. Pull that out. Okay, real quick, it wasn't the screw that I thought it was. Luckily, I looked one more time before I tried prying too hard. It's actually the screw that's closest to what as you're looking at it. The other one apparently is for the other motor. So I don't know if you can see it or not. But anyway. Okay, so that did the trick. And you see where the two. So I guess this one actually there's actually three screws for it. Those two there, the one up above. And then you can see now that releases that side of the seat. And now I'm going to finish taking these. Already taking this one out of the blue socket. Then we've got to take this one out of black. Okay, now you can see those wires are free. They should come out. So now we push, hopefully, get this back up there. We push this out past here, and I'm hoping, I don't know if it's going to work better one direction than the other. Huh. The one thing with all this plastic, I'm just making sure I don't break anything. So here, let me shut this off for a second. Okay, so I got it. I just had to kind of lift it and get it in the right angle up. Now this wire will come out and the new seat can go back on. There's the new seat. Wires go on this side. Obviously we're upside down, so the seat part goes up. Get these wires started. We're gonna go right through that opening. Sorry, there. So let me get that going. All right, you see how I got the wires strung through there. Now this just goes, this is a little bit of the touchy. So you get that started there, and then this just should snap in there. Now I noticed when I took the other one off, it was just right about in here where it seemed to like it the best. You see it's not quite in there yet. All right. There it goes. And then once you get it into position, it's obviously, you don't have the... All right, so you can see I've got that in there now. This is lined up. All I got to do now is take the motor right here, and you can kind of see how that is. It's got a flat spot, which will line up there, and it goes, screws into those 3 screws right there. You started? One screw that goes in back here. It's almost impossible to get at, so what I'm going to try is turn this up on the side so that the screw stays on the end of the screwdriver, and then hopefully get it in the, for some reason I cannot see that. I guess I need a light. There, and you can get it started into that third hole for the motor. All right, just to give you an idea what everything looks like. That's everything that's behind the lid. And that the lid assembly, this ends up bolting to the back side of that. And then that goes over in here. One thing that to me seems weird on this, I guess that's the way they had to build it, but if you notice, when you look at the bowl, we've tried to clean up everything we can here, but there's this recess here, and then that just goes back out through the back of the toilet and down on the floor, but it's way around and back, so, you know, we gotta make sure that we're watching back there, and if you ever have a backup, then that's something that, to be honest with you, to be safe, you really need to pull all this apart and get back in there and clean it, because it's going to overflow through here, and you might not notice it, where if you had a real bad backup and it goes over the front, then you're going to see it and you know to do it. But anyway, so I'm going to start assembling it back together now. Okay, so here's the seat assembly after we got the seat and the lid. So what I did is I've got this sitting, because you can't stretch in these wires, so it's sitting on it's actually a toilet roll extra storage deal, and then the blue wire then goes through that black wires after the connector that pushes in on the top of this. This actually is going to bolt to this and sits under the tank basically. So this, let me get this straight. All right, then you've got these red wires, goes in here. I already connected this wire here, and this is all what came with the new lid. And then you got to reconnect these red wires that were loose when you take it apart. and then the connection here for these two wires, the blue wires. And then what I'll do now is take this, turn it upside down. Well, actually, yeah, in a sense upside down. And I'll put those screws in, the little screws that go in here through these holes into here. And then we can start setting the seat back on. And then the tank then goes down over all of this stuff, and then the wires are routing down back to those connections. And when I say tank, it's only a tank in that it takes the spot of what a tank would on a normal flush toilet. There's really no water in there. All right, so here's the reassembled seat. And then the next step then is to flip this over. And this part goes down in that recess, and then the wires come up through an opening that you can tell where the tank is actually right around this. Just make sure you check your hose here. Theoretically, you're supposed to be able to take this little blue clip off, and then like a lot of the new push lock type fittings, you pull that off, push that collar in, and then that should come out. I couldn't get it to come out, so that's why I just left this in here and worked on it in here. All right, so here it is with this set down in. I don't know if I can pull this up and show you or not. The lid, I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, see the little kind of little legs that come down off, that fits down in that hole, and that's what keeps it. And then you route the hose routes up through this little recess there, and then the one white. And then I'll show you how that hooks up when we put the tank on. Okay, so here's the wires. You have one connector there, that black, and you can tell that it's got blue on each end. And then you have this white to white with the green tabs. And then this is, as I remember, this is the battery pack so that it works if you have a power outage. And then here's the bolts that come up from underneath the flange on the back side. And you just run those down kind of close to what you do on a normal toilet, the way that, except they don't have to be watertight, just solid. I guess I can get a little tighter. Just make sure that none of the hose or the wiring is kinked here. Seems to be free. And that's it, put the lid on. So when you're taking it apart, obviously just, first thing you do is I would pull those nuts off the studs, unhook the wiring, and then I pull the battery pack out of the way, and then you just pull that up and off, and then you just kind of just pull it apart like I put it back together, I guess. So you still got to turn the water on now. Hopefully we don't have any surprises here. Okay, there we go. And then we plug it in, which I gotta pull the, oh, that's one thing, the power cord, when you're putting this section down in there, it's a little bit of a, you gotta get it routed down through the hole so that it comes out the back of the toilet. I'll get that plugged in and we'll give it a try. Okay, back together and working. I will have to say that we've had this in for 4 years now, when the house is new, and we've been happy with it. I mean, it's if you've never had a bidet toilet before, it's it's a big improvement. There's a lot of stuff, and we've been worrying about stuff going wrong with it. And to be honest with you, though, the only thing other than the seat cracking, which it's an ordeal to replace, I have to admit, but it's been good and dependable, and we feel, you know, they're not cheap for sure, but we actually got two of them in this home, and they were at Lowe's, and I think we paid like $8.50 for them or something. I mean, the seat alone was $130, so, but they're very nice. And I did finally find a video on the, I don't know how you say it, OVE, I guess, OVE. I did find one on their site, but they really don't say anything. They just have a video of the guy doing it. And now that I've done it, the video would work. But if I wouldn't have done it yet, there would have been things I missed. So hopefully this will help. Thanks.